kept calling me every day. What do you think? I said, dude, I really don't think it's a good idea. And he agreed, and he didn't go. But then there's the people who, like a good friend of mine who was calling me yesterday as I'm here in Massachusetts and I'm feeding him information. He drives a delivery truck for Cisco, and he was on the wrong side of the canal zone. And he's calling me, hey, what do you think? I said, you better get that route done before high tide. And sure enough, it got shut down. And I called him, and he's trying to get a hotel, and he got a hotel booked in Avon. And then all of a sudden, a couple hours later, well, we got it done, because normally DOT doesn't like to work after dark if they can't get it open within a certain amount of time. Plus, they don't want to put people out there with the potential of overwash after dark, meaning the public. But this time it happened. But yeah, this was another one. And James, right now, if you're watching the video stream, we haven't talked about Ocracoke at all. And Ocracoke, once again, that's another spot, the north end of Ocracoke Island, just beyond the Hatteras Inlet Ferry Terminal. It's on the north end. That camera that you're seeing from DOT is actually posted just what's known as the pony pens, the old Ocracoke ponies that used to roam wild and have been pinned up for many years by the National Park Service, reside there. And
I don't think I knew that they had penned the wild free horses.
On Ocracoke, not in Corolla, but in Ocracoke.
Okay.
Yeah, Ocracoke's a whole different thing. Yes,
I was about to retitle this whole show.
No, no. Don't even go. We're not going there, because that would be another show.
Tune in next week. We'll be talking about Columbus Day and penning of horses.
Yeah, exactly. So you see the full court press DOT had on today, this afternoon, and that was around 2:30, 2:45 this afternoon. 5 o'clock, first ferry ran. They got to reopen. I want to get Frank in on this conversation, and I didn't mean to cut you off, Brett. I didn't mean to do that. So, but I do want to get Frank in on here, because Frank, maybe you can explain what happened with this particular nor'easter that actually turned into twin nor'easters and split. And we got in the lead. We got into a big lull of wind Monday night, I think it was, or maybe Sunday night out here. All of a sudden it just died. And it was the weirdest thing, watching the models showing this big slash of nothing. And then all of a sudden we get a twin. So Frank, maybe you can explain a little bit more about what happened with this system and why we saw focuses and instances of sound side flooding instead of just ocean side flooding. So, because it was a really weird week.
Yeah, it was because there were really two weather systems that got involved here. The first one, well, three altogether. We had a front move in and become stationary. Then we had a disturbance that was over the nation's midsection move in and spawn the initial coastal low. And that got your winds going pretty good out of the north to northeast for a while. But then a second disturbance that was up in Canada at first moved into the Great Lakes, and that's what spawned the second storm further north. That one kind of took over for a while and caused the strong onshore winds to kind of shift northward, and then your winds sort of turned offshore at the Outer Banks, and that's why you ended up with a sound side flooding instead, because your winds went one offshore direction for a while. Which was good, because it was blowing the tide out on the ocean side, so that helped for a while, I guess. But unfortunately, a lot of damage was already done at that point.
Yeah, and it was. And in fact, we had another overwash incident today up at the Canal zone. I mean, it's just been a constant battle. Like we've said, since August, really, with the northeast flow, and we were getting the shifting areas along Hatteras and Ocracoke. Ocracoke's a pretty solid. It's always the north end, but we're seeing that where one storm it's Buxton, one storm it's the area between Hatteras Village, right as you come into Hatteras Village. One storm it's now back on Pea Island. Then we threw in the sound side flooding that we got in Hatteras Village. We got it in Ocracoke today, and we got it. Even you guys, you had the video as you were headed out trying to get out of Dodge, earlier in Rodanthe, of driving down where you had sound side flooding there and a little bit of ocean side, because Rodanthe was still getting the offshore blow. But that was yesterday afternoon when things went. They're out there trying to dump it. And something I'll note: the sand that you see that's those dump trucks are bringing in actually comes from up by the Bonner Bridge. The DOT has a kind of a storage area, if you will, of sand that collects up there. And they kind of build that up throughout the year as sand blows on the Highway 12, and they'll scrape it off and take it back up there. So they have sand that they can use to dump to rebuild a berm to at least protect the edge of the road and keep it from collapsing. So, there's a lot that goes into this. This isn't just like trying to push the snow off like you do in the mountains, you do in Charlotte, you do elsewhere when it snows. This is a whole different animal.
But I get your point.
Yeah, I know. That's true. It doesn't snow there anymore. But,
we got this Canal Zone photo up that shows the progress. I want to ask, does anyone, here's the same camera from earlier to show you the before, but has anyone figured out who this guy is?
This guy? No, and it would have been
and
great.
I presume it's a guy, but it doesn't mean it has to be a guy.
No, I'm pretty sure it's a guy.
Look, let me go ahead and give an unpopular opinion here, and I almost posted this on Twitter, and I thought better of it.
So you're going to do it now?
And the guy, I would be I would be the guy in the truck. That to me would be awesome because I know how bad the storm is, and I obviously I couldn't do this because of my position, but I would actually have loved to have been in the truck to experience that because I think I know well enough after my Hurricane Michael experience, I could handle that.
Well, Chris, why don't you tell the world, what did I text you? Because this photo was in the Dropbox that Chris sent, and we saw it all went on viral on Twitter. But when I saw it in the Dropbox, Chris, what did I say?
Oh, you said, do I need to know something? Is this you guys in the truck or something to that effect? And I'm like, no, James, this time it wasn't us. We're good this time, I promise.
You guys,
but I wanted to ask you something. I wanted to ask you
that
something.
Wasn't
Frank.
y'all in the SUV that got spun around by the 6-foot rogue that came through that was headed north? That someone had video after it had gotten spun out, right where that camera is.
No, we saw that video though.
Yeah. So that wasn't the only.
I was going to ask you, Frank.
That's fried here in a couple of weeks.
What
about the?
Go ahead, Brett.
Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
I was going to ask Frank, with that double barrel load going up the East Coast like that, the northern low becoming the primary low pressure, do you think that's what contributed to 11 inches of rain down around Georgetown with that, the primary low being stuck under that upper trough?
It could be. It could be that was the cause of it. And that's an interesting post-mortem to do on this storm is how the different models were handling that. I think that the Euro, especially the AI Euro AI model, was showing that sort of thing happening, and as a result, causing a lot of rain. So I think that's reasonable to think that's what happened.
On the other hand, let's talk about the power truck, the bucket truck that was stuck in the surf zone in a couple of feet of sand down there at Rodanthe, coming off Highway 12. So, I mean, it wasn't just the innocent bystanders that were getting stuck. We had people out there trying to do some work that were getting stuck too. So, I mean, we didn't do it. I'm just saying, I'm kind of that adrenaline junkie knowing that zone. But I mean, holy cow, Sam, those dunes that they push up and that they build there in Canal Zone, man, some of those things were like 15 plus feet high and reduced to nothing.